Welcome to the Virtual Zoo, the channel that brings the zoo right to you. Good day, mates, and welcome, one and all, to the golden state of California, where the sun glows, and we'd better run off to the San Diego Safari Park. Home to thousands of animals from around the globe, the Safari Park offers an up-close look at wildlife in habitats designed perfectly to resemble their natural environments. From the African plains to the Asian savannas, we'll experience the wonders of the animal kingdom like never before. With interactive exhibits, educational programs, and thrilling safari tours, there's truly something here for everyone to enjoy. Each and every visit here is a wonderful opportunity to connect with wildlife in wild-like places. But today, we're going down under to explore Walkabout Australia. What opened in the summer of 2018 was designed specifically to represent Australia's rural landscapes and the many plants and animals that call them home in 4 unique hotspots for biodiversity. At the price of $17.4 million and sitting on a mere 3.6 acres, the Safari Park perfectly brought the desert to life, and around here, it's Australia's unique inhabitants that make this wacky land down under such a fascinating experience. I'll save more for later, but we'd better run and we'd better get this adventure started. Though your journey through the land down under can start from 2 different points, I figured it'd be best to start off from the second entrance at the very top of the park. Since this is how I imagine most people see the exhibit, we'll begin just past the Sumatran tigers of the Tiger Trail and the condors and bighorn sheep of the Condor Ridge. Down the path, and as the sun sears down on our backs, we'll get a little taste of the World Gardens and the native landscapes of Southern California. But after a bit of a hike is the reason why I find this entrance so grand. Large, gigantic and rounded granite boulders, spectacularly positioned, frame this remarkable entrance. A site of Australia's Northern Territory in the outback, these rocks, known as Devil's Marbles, are precariously balanced, seemingly defying gravity. And while they are naturally formed by erosion, I think it's much more interesting to imagine they were dropped from the sky by forces similar to that of Lucifer. Anyways, as we continue through these scenic landscapes and down this bridge, eventually past these bathrooms, we'll make our way to the West Family Station, also known as the Woolshed, a venue that you can rent out, but also sit down, relax, and grab a bite to eat, as well as the home of the Sheared Sheep gift shop. The Woolshed represents the shearing woolsheds on many Australian sheep ranches known as stations. The excellent theming of this building teaches about the various techniques and traditions of sheep ranching and wool production practiced in Australia for more than 200 years. Alright, so we've seen the arid desert, learned about Australia's past, but now it's time to delve into the rainforest, viewable from inside the station, but also if we continue outside and ignore some other stuff, and down this small bridge is a lush arboreal habitat for the Matschie's tree kangaroo. Yes, I said kangaroos in the trees. Tree kangaroos evolved uniquely from their ground-dwelling cousins, instead taking on adaptations that allow them to spend their lives in the canopy. With their long, sharp claws for climbing and strong legs as well as a tail, they're able to easily leap and balance in the treetops. While there are tree kangaroos that live in Australia, this subspecies is native to Papua New Guinea, where they are classified as endangered. Little exactly is known about their social behaviors in the wild, since they are solitary creatures, but I heard that a joey was born around this time last year. However, because I didn't see it and would like to save the babies for another tour, we'll be moving on. Still outside the woolshed and across from the kangaroos are two lush paddocks divided down the middle by a wall and featuring glass viewing for us to peer into the domain of the southern cassowary, a bird that is elusive and mysterious, yet has captivated public attention for their ferocity and aggressive nature. Reaching up to 5.8 feet in height and up to 120 pounds in weight, the southern cassowary is not only tall, but sport a crest on their heads known as a casque. With this and their large clawed feet, they look like a modern dinosaur, or at the least, something straight out of Jurassic Park. As omnivores, they'll eat basically anything in the underbrush, and if cornered, will use those razor-sharp claws to slice up anything in their way, including humans, giving them the name of the most dangerous bird in the world. Heading once again through the woolshed and back outside is another raised walkway that takes us back down to the ground. I noticed some fake sheep below, but if we keep going, we'll soon see what's up next. On the ground there's another small viewing area for the tree kangaroos, but past an area where a rope bridge was originally supposed to be, the path swerves back around towards the action. There's also some bonsai pavilion around here, but at the base of the station is a large pond known as a reservoir. This bird biome, dubbed the Lifegiving Water, is an oasis for animals and people that depend on water in an otherwise arid outback. There's also a conservation tank that might have been used by farmers during more desperate times, but the pond is home to the Australian wood duck and the Radjah Shellduck, both species keen to paddle in these freshwater wetlands and whom depend on the water for their very lives. Past this oasis and in an area that was originally plotted for VIP encounters and animal presentations, in November of 2019, they made way for the platypus habitat. Heading into this dark cave-like structure, you're instantly immersed with the sights and sounds of the dark wetland environments of Australia's eastern coast. Their exhibit features naturalistic riverbanks, extensive tunnels, free pools, and multiple nesting areas, making a perfect home for the duck-billed platypus. Arriving at the park in October of 2019, male Burrung and female Eve marked the first time that platypuses were cared for outside of Australia in over 50 years. And believe me when I say, they are about as wacky as it comes in terms of animals. Where else would you find a semi-aquatic, egg-laying species that also happens to be one of the few venomous mammals? They've got the waterproof fur of a rodent, the paddle-shaped tail of a beaver, and the bill and webbed feet of a duck. They'll actually use receptors in their bill to navigate the murky depths and hunt for live shellfish like crayfish, which they can actually do in their exhibit. As you can see here, they are nocturnal and are generally active during the night, which is why their exhibit mimics the daylight cycle, making it pitch black even when it's clearly daytime in California. Platypus are considered near threatened in the wild, but the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance uses cutting-edge conservation efforts with environmental DNA to track and manage wild populations to ensure future sustainability. And while this is probably the last you'll see them on this channel, you can check out the links in the description and learn more about these amazing creatures. Emerging from the darkness and back outside, we've got another reasonable hike down the hill to what is possibly the main event. The path is littered with viewing areas and a plethora of well-designed signage, but the main event lies just past this small plaza and through the airlock. After learning the rules, we're allowed to enter the pasture beyond. Welcome to the sunny savanna and the grasslands. Of course, I'm talking about the Walk Through Kangaroo exhibit. where I'd assume the Walkabout gets its name. I couldn't find an exact measurement, but this space seemingly comes out to be about half an acre or 20 to 25,000 square feet. Around here, you're given free access to wander this 8-foot wide footpath that loops throughout the exhibit, but if you're not keen on the ruse, you can also view them from multiple vantage points outside the exhibit. However, the reason why we're here, as anything in Australia should be, is the zoo's mob of western grey kangaroos, who apparently used to be joined by red-necked wallabies, but I have no idea what happened to them. Anyways, kangaroos and wallabies are macropods, roughly translating to big feet, and I'm sure you know why. Other than their big feet, macropods are known for their long, muscular tails, which help with balance during hopping and provide support when at rest. Speaking of which, kangaroos hop because allegedly it's more efficient for travel and because their legs have to move together, meaning that they're either stuck hopping or crawling around like this. Kangaroos live in large family groups called mobs, and they'll use all sorts of kicks, punches, and gentle touches to communicate. Speaking of which, you might happen to hear a holler from the occasionally noisy magpie goose, a common waterfowl to Australia. Luckily for them, a stream flows throughout the exhibit, making its way to another pond known as a billabong, temporary pools where animals gather to drink in the drier months. The Walkabout is also complete with plenty of signage and a windmill, which I thought was a nice touch. Once you're all walkabouted out, you can head out of the exhibit and down the path, leading us all the way home. This country road surely doesn't have a fired out combi, and definitely not a hippie trail either, but the theming is nice, and you can view into the kangaroo exhibit a couple more times. Finally, the trail ends at the other entrance to Australia, and you're all set for your next adventure at the San Diego Safari Park. As always, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on the Virtual Zoo.